This video will explain the process, roles, and responsibilities related to delegate access. Many college records are protected by the Family Rights to Privacy Act, or FERPA. Because these records are protected, permission is required by the individual to grant access to others to access and retrieve that information. A common misperception is that dual enrollment students are excluded from this because at their home schools, parents have the right to access records and discuss student conduct such as attendance and performance such as grades. This is not the case when a student is dual enrolled in a college course. Once enrolled in a college course, a dual enrollment student falls under the same rules and regulations of any other college student, including FERPA regulations. Whether you have a 13-year-old homeschooled dual enrollment student or a newly graduated 18-year-old or a returning 42-year-old woman with 3 children, these rules apply. In order for a student to grant delegate access, they fill out a form online through their My Daytona State portal. On that form, the student will identify who is being granted permission and specifically what they have permission to access and discuss. This must be current and in the system for any faculty or staff to share information with anyone other than the student. It is the responsibility of the faculty and staff to check this status before having conversations about specific record information. What kind of information is protected and should not be shared or discussed by faculty or staff with anyone but the student? Here are examples: attendance, class schedule, financial aid, grades, transcripts, and student financials. Special note: IT security and passwords are not accessible or shareable even with delegate access. It's important to note that faculty and staff can speak in generalities to respond to an inquiry. For example, if a parent emails from their own or even from the student's account and identifies themselves in the email, you can respond by sharing a general response, explaining the limitation of information sharing, and recommending that the requester speak directly to the student to obtain the desired information, or to suggest that the student investigate and set up delegate access. It also is helpful to share, especially in an email response, the website for FERPA and the website for delegate access setup. The same can be done in person or on the phone, but you'll want to take the time to have that information available for them to take with them. You can also offer to email them the information. The person making the inquiry may be concerned, frustrated, or upset. You don't want to just shut them down and say no without providing some level of assistance, even if you cannot provide the requested information. Here's an example of a general response that you can use without sharing the specific details. You can see a common question received by instructors about attendance. This would be an appropriate response that explains your limitations but provides information about FERPA and setting up delegate access if desired. Hello, Mr. Smith. Thank you for asking about Greg's progress. I understand your concerns about your son's attendance. However, I'm limited in sharing information about students due to federal privacy regulations, or FERPA, with the website. These regulations prevent me from sharing specific student record information with anyone but the student. I can share, however, that in my syllabus, I have an attendance policy and that there are penalties such as specific point loss for those who come late or do not attend. Hopefully, you've spoken directly with Greg to discuss his progress. If not, I suggest talking with him to get the information you're seeking. If Greg is willing to set up permission for you to share his records, I can discuss details related to your questions. However, without it, I cannot. Greg would simply set up delegate access and grant you permission. When that is on file, I can share information. Instructions for setting up delegate access can be found at Share the website. If the student needs to grant delegate access, direct them to this page, the Falcon Self-Service for Students Info Guide, which provides step-by-step explanations. Again, it is important to inform your students of this permission and the college requirements related to setting it up, especially underscoring the difference between the K-12 rules and the college rules for dual enrollment students. Another important aspect to understand about delegate access is that there are options related to the information that can be shared. It's essential to check exactly what the student has given permission to discuss and the reason that they have listed. For example, they may be comfortable with allowing a parent to check financial records because the parents are handling the process and documentation related to financial aid. However, they may not have given parental permission for academic records, such as grades and attendance. Next, we'll demonstrate how to access delegate permissions and differentiate the types of permissions granted. To verify delegate access, log in to My Daytona State and choose Falcon Self-Service. From there, choose the small compass in the right-hand corner of the screen to open the menu, and choose Menu, then Campus Community. Once selected, choose Delegated Access from the options. Next, choose Review Shared Information. In this example, you can see sample permissions granted such as attendance and class schedule. This permission was granted to the student's mother. In this example, you can see permissions that include both academic and financial aid records. This permission was granted to the student's spouse. In this example, it lists all possible permissions that include both academic and financial aid records. This example shows the screen when no permissions have been granted. This is when you would want to explain to the student or individual about where to find information about setting up delegate access. Students also have the option to give different permission levels to multiple people. Here you can see that there are permissions for the son and the daughter. They just happen to be the same. When a student sets up delegate access, they not only choose the permissions, but also the relationships, who gets to see or discuss what. You can see in this list a typical list of relationships you may expect. Here you can see that there are many relationships to choose from, including roommate, employer, partner, or others. In summary, remember these key points. Practice getting to the shared information screen to ensure that you have access and understand how to interpret the information there. Inform students and parents about where to find instructions to set up delegate access if desired. Verify specific delegate permissions, types, and people before responding to questions about student records or statuses. Finally, consult with enrollment services if you need assistance or have questions about the permissions you see or a request for information. Thanks for watching.